Hello, all you gorgeous creatures. Welcome back to the Tropic Wonder podcast. If you've never been here before, please like the podcast and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. It helps us connect to other like-minded, freedom-loving, free beings. On this channel, we talk about everything that has to do with the liberation of the mind, body, soul, whatever that is. And today we're going to talk about our limiting BS. What kind of belief systems are we hanging on to that are keeping us from living our most free, authentic, loving life? What kind of BS, what kind of belief systems can we let go of today? What is a belief system? Well, it's a series of thoughts and maybe programming that we've had throughout our life experiences, other relationships that we've seen, families, beliefs, whatever people think. It's a collection of ideas that may or may not even be true about us. So I think that that's worth some investigating, right? Like, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get down into the root of why we believe what we believe. The ideas and the thoughts that we have about us and about the world create our quality of life. So if I believe every day when I wake up, if I believe that I only deserve to drive a crappy car, live in a trailer, and eat canned tuna for the rest of my life, then that's all I'll ever get, because we get what we tolerate in life. If I believe that I deserve to live on the water and drink out of coconuts and wear beautiful sequin dresses every day, then that's also going to be true for my life. If I believe that everyone is always out to get me and I'm a victim and everyone is always attacking me and judging me, then that's what I'm going to find in the world. And on the, other side of that, if I believe that everyone's always helpful and people are loving and kind and I find love and help wherever I go, that will also be true for me. So I'm really, really conscientious about choosing my thoughts and my words very carefully. Words are so important. Words are not just hot air balloons. It's not just empty. It's full of energy. If you believe in the creation story of God, in the beginning there was the Word. And for me, I think of the Big Bang Theory more like when God first spoke us into existence. It was almost like a blasting of all of the atoms and the frequency throughout the universe. And that's what created life. Human beings are the only creatures on the planet that were given the gift of the word. Our word creates so much frequency. It carries so much weight. I'm extremely cautious with the things that I say. There's a reason why they call it spelling. When you are speaking, you are either creating a beautiful world or you are creating a poisonous environment. You can create beauty and art and love, or you can cause destruction and chaos with the power of the word. Abracadabra. Literally, it's Aramaic. It translates to, as I speak, I create. Amen. And so it is. That's why we say amen after we pray, because I have said this and so it will be. When you say a manifestation, a mantra, an affirmation, sure, the words behind it are powerful as well, and that rewires your brain, but it's also the energy that you generate behind it. So whenever I create something with my words, whenever I'm manifesting something or rewriting the script, I'll flip the script of an old story or an old narrative that I was telling myself that's no longer true, nor is it serving me. I will also get my body moving and really generate some energy and some heat behind that. So when I speak it, I also have the emotion that's driving it as well, because emotion is energy in motion, right? And then whatever we pay attention to, where attention goes, energy flows. So very, very, very important to be conscious of the words that we are speaking. Whatever you say about yourself will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. How many of us speak negatively about ourselves? Right? It's okay. Like, raise your hand. I've totally done it in the past. How many of us have fallen victim to playing the victim? This always happens to me. Or do you know somebody who says stuff like that? This always happens to me. And then that thing does always happen to them. It's not 100% our fault, because our old lizard brain, our caveman brain, was always looking out for danger. So our ego is still trying to scan the room for danger. And we don't really need that anymore. We've kind of evolved beyond the point of being in danger of being eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. We don't have to worry about like the fight or flight as much anymore. But our brain is still programmed to find the negative for us. So I know plenty of people, I'm sure you guys too, who gossip and just want to point out the flaws in other people and bring people down. And it's like that's how you tell that their brain is still stuck in the caveman days where they're like sonar, like boop, 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 just always scanning for something negative. Until we learn to train our brain and rewire it, the brain is going to always look for the negative. It's going to look for danger. We don't need to do that anymore. We're not in danger. We're not in fight or flight mode. We can live in thrive mode instead of survive mode. Once we tell our brain, hey, the soul knows the way and the heart is in charge. I have perfect love, perfect trust in myself, in my higher self, in my angels, in my God, my creator. I have perfect love and perfect trust. It activates our higher DNA function. Scientists call it junk DNA because they don't know what it does. But back in the day, long time ago, we had that cellular DNA and it was active. And that's when human beings could heal themselves and we had telepathy. And we are waking up all over the planet. Human beings are waking up. Perhaps you've already felt, the beginning stages of it, or maybe you're pretty far along on your journey. But we are learning to connect to our higher selves and our intuition and our God self. The brain makes a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. So it's our job to retrain our brain and we rewire it to work for us. We don't need it out there causing chaos, running amok, looking for danger. It's okay. The world is safe. I'm always very cautious about the words that I choose to use. I'm very deliberate. I pay very close attention to people. My birthday is March 29th. It's literally the day of the observer. Each birthday means something different, by the way. But I pay very close attention to how people speak and the words they choose and their body language. And I speak with thousands of people every week at my shows, at my performances. People always come up and chit chat with me. And I'm so interested and fascinated with how human beings think. And some of the stories that they tell me, I can tell right off the bat, like, okay, well, if you're having this much trouble in your life, I've already, from speaking to you for 5 minutes, can tell that you're creating a lot of this drama and it's not necessary. So let's open up and see if we can examine some stuff. I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples of things that have helped me on my path in life. So you can easily flip the script on an old story. When I was young, I lived a very different life. I don't really talk about my past because I've moved so far beyond it and I don't want to stay stuck there anymore. I've really put in the emotional work and time to change the narrative and rewrite my story and reframe it. So when I was younger, I lived a very different life. I grew up with a lot of negativity and pain and anger and sorrow, all the negative emotions, very low self-worth, violence, just a lot of aggression, hostility. And I was raised to believe my old programming was that I'm not worthy. I didn't deserve love. I would never be worthy of anything good in my life. And I believed that. That was my BS for a long time. I believed that. So I had to work really hard to say, first of all, sometimes you just have to say F you to that. You got to throw up the double birds and just say enough. I've had enough of that crap. That's not true. I don't believe it. And I'm going to prove that wrong. So that's kind of what I did. But it took me a long time to get there because, well, we didn't have the internet back then when I was growing up. I really could have used connection with like-minded people like we have now. But I flipped that script. I changed it. I am deserving of love. I am worthy of receiving all the best that life has to offer. I can have miracles. The miracles happen to me all the time. People are always helpful, always kind, always reaching out, always lending a helping hand. So I flipped that narrative and that is now my life. I am a talented musician who plays shows every single day. I live on the water. I eat off of leaves and drink out of coconuts. That is truly my life now. I wear beautiful sequin gowns and I help other people find love and freedom in themselves. I changed that. It became my mantra. It's true. Two of the most powerful words in the universe are I am. It's not enough to say I want, because the universe is literal, so it will let you keep wanting. You can say, I want a mansion, I want a Ferrari. Sure, great. That's great for you. You can keep wanting that. What shifts the power into the present moment is I am. I am living on the ocean. It even feels different when I say it. It gives me kind of chills and goosebumps. I am a professional musician who inspires others every day. I am living the most free, authentic version of myself. I am the most fit, vibrant, and healthy version of myself that I've ever been today. Tomorrow is going to be even better. Here's another example. I have a neighbor who used to really not like me. Just whatever I did seemed to rub this lady the wrong way. I don't know. I could sneeze and she would be pissed off by me. So I was reaffirming that every day. I would say, this person hates me. This person doesn't like me. And then it occurred to me about a month or two ago that, wow, that's not what I teach other people. I really need to practice what I preach and walk my talk. So I flipped the script and I rewired my brain and my speech patterns to start saying, even though it wasn't true at the time, so-and-so has nothing but love for me, and I have nothing but love and respect for her. There is only love, peace, and harmony exchanged between us. I love living in a neighborhood where my neighbors are friendly and always helpful. So then this was about 2 months ago. And then for Christmas, I got a bunch of little stockings for all my neighbors and put different things, trinkets, champagne for the ladies, some chocolates. For the dudes, I put little whiskey bottles in there, left them on everyone's doorstep, including the lady who didn't like me. And I wrote cards and handwritten notes for everyone. And hers, I wrote a nice long note and just telling her that, hey, I have nothing but love for you, wishing you all the best that life has to offer in the coming year. And I hope you have a wonderful and safe holiday with your family. And I didn't hear from her for a little bit. And I was talking to my little brother about it. He was asking me hey, whatever happened with that situation? And I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter, because I don't need to control the outcome. I did my part. I know that I'm good with God. So whatever happens, my karma's clear, the slate's clear. I did my part. I spoke my truth. I did it with love. I got out of my ego and I did what I could with my words. And then every single day, many times a day, even though it wasn't true at the time, I would say those mantras. The other day, she knocked on my door and brought over a little plaque with a little cartoon version of me on it that she had made for me, a hanging wooden plaque to hang on my door. And it said my name on it. And it said, it's a little yoga girl just being all peaceful and with hearts and cool stuff on it. And it said, Adrian, and please bring good energy into my space. And then we had a nice long talk, and she shared some deeply personal things she was going to, which I'm not going to repeat because I'm not going to betray someone's confidence, but she shared a lot of what was going on in her life. And once she told me those things, it was very clear why she was hurting. And then I immediately had grace and compassion for her, and it changed the entire energy. Now, sometimes that won't always be the case. We have to learn how to forgive and move on without an apology. And especially when you're dealing with something that happened in the past, I've done a lot of work to forgive people and myself for things that happened in the past. It won't change what happened, but it'll change the energy around it. So you'll no longer feel triggered by it. At some point, you'll be able to set that past down and just leave it there. And that's why I don't recommend really getting involved with dredging up the past and stirring up all the muck at the bottom of the ocean. Just let it lie. The past is the past. Sometimes you have to learn to forgive and move on without apologies from people. But you can change the energy surrounding the pain. You can release it and you can move forward. So that's something that I practice every day. It's something that has helped me. This is an example of how negative thoughts and speech will affect your life. I used to work with this woman. She was the most negative person I have ever met. Just narcissist, so negative. All she did was speak negatively and gossip about everyone, just always dumping her toxic venom on me. I would come into work really happy, and this is when I was young. I was still in my early 20s, still very naive. I had just started doing like energy work and healing and releasing stuff in myself. And I was naive enough to think that when I healed myself, that meant that others would be healed. Just because I felt happy, other people would be uplifted and inspired by my joy. And that is so not true. Like, if somebody doesn't do the work, like, just because you wash your car doesn't mean that the neighbor's car gets clean, okay? So don't be like me and make the mistake of thinking that because you've done all this healing work, everybody else is going to be shiny and happy and polished as well, because you'll be in for a rude awakening. So I was super naive at the time. This woman was so unhappy. Oh, I thought that I was going to help her and inspire her with my positivity. Stupid me, silly me. My heart was in the right place. So I took it upon myself. She had 3 young daughters. I love kids. I helped her babysit. I was like emotionally there for her. I thought maybe she just needs a good friend. And she did not. All she did was backstab me, and just a horrible person. She just treated me like dirt. And this is a good example of knowing when to cut people off and love them from a distance. It's not your job to heal everybody, okay? You're not Mother Teresa. You can just heal yourself, and that's all. Your responsibility for the world begins and ends with yourself. So I did not do that. I thought I was going to help her, and she was just so nasty to me. And like, I would tell her, she would come into work and I'd be ready to go, and she would just spew every bad thing that ever happened to her and every nasty thought she ever had. She would just kind of vomit it, ear vomit onto anyone who was around. And I remember telling her, like, hey, you can't do this. Like, I have to go to work. I can't listen to all this painful stuff and then go be smiley and like super crazy busy and make 48 cocktails at a time. Like, it was an insane high pace fine dining restaurant. So, and then she would freak out and say, like, I have no one to talk to. I need to vent. And I'm like, listen, lady, I'm not a therapist, okay? I don't get paid for this stuff. And she never changed. And 2 years ago, she died. She died of cancer at 43. This is what negativity will do to you from the inside. Cancer is caused by deep-seated resentment. Like, that is some nasty stuff. It has hooks. And if we don't learn how to heal our emotions, forgive and release, and start focusing on the positive, that's what it will turn into. It becomes a cancer. It becomes dis-ease. It becomes an illness because our body is at a dis-ease. We are not vibrationally in alignment when we are not eating healthy foods, not loving our body, not speaking kindly to it and to each other. We are here to help each other love, learn, and grow. If you're not doing any of those things, then you are not going to have the full experience of being a human being. We're just here for a really short time. We got to help each other out. So, whenever I would go to her house, she would have plans for when somebody broke into her house. Not if, when. And she would tell me all these worst case scenarios. And I was just like, it made me nauseous to be around her. And I've met so many people like that. People who always have bad experiences, and then they say things. I listen to their language. This always happens to me. I'm always the victim of this. I always have bad relationships or whatever it is. I always experience this from my boss and my career. Whatever you say will become true for you. Be so careful with the words that you use. Whatever you say about yourself becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever you speak about your life will also become true for you. When I first started being brave enough to admit that I wanted to be a musician, I had believed other people's BS my whole life, other people's belief systems, that I would never be able to be a singer. I was never good enough. I was never thin enough, pretty enough. I was never good at anything. Like, when I was 12 years old, I was so bogged down by other people's BS. I was listening to death metal music and heavy black eyeliner and chain smoking Marlboro Red cigarettes. I was bitter and angry. And that's because I wasn't born that way. That was not my life purpose, but that's what I had turned into because I allowed other people to weigh me down. And I just became so angry and so bitter and so lost for so long that I had given up on my dream, which I knew from the moment I can remember being aware in this world. I knew that I was supposed to be a musician. I a gifted dancer. I could play nursery rhymes that I taught myself on my piano when I was 2 years old. I remember it. I can play, and still to this day, I can play any instrument just by hearing it. Like, I knew from day one that that's what I was supposed to do. And instead, don't be like me. I waited until I was 28 to pick up a guitar. Like, I waited so long because I lived in so much fear that I was not good enough. And that was such BS. The belief system was false. It wasn't even mine. And I can't believe I waited so long, but eventually I got pissed off enough and was like, F you, I'm doing it anyway. I don't care anymore. And so one of the first things I did, I was still a bartender at the time and a landscaper. I also was, had many jobs, but landscaping, bartending at night. And I would start telling people, I am a musician. I am a singer. I am a performer. Because remember, I am, two of the most powerful words in the universe. And it was funny and silly at the time because it wasn't true yet. So people would be like, oh, cool. Like, where do you play? And I'd be like, nowhere yet. But because I spoke it enough and people started to see me that way, I also started to believe it myself. I started to see myself that way. When I was struggling with my weight, I started saying that I am fit, vibrant, and healthy. And with weight especially, weight is very emotional. I have worked out and starved myself to death at points in my life, and it did nothing for my weight because weight is emotional. We put weight on when we're not feeling safe. Weight has more to do with our emotions than you could possibly imagine. Once you release the BS, the belief system that you are not safe in this world, the weight will start to fall off because you will release the need to feel protected. Most of the time, people gain weight because they don't feel safe. At least I did. And where it manifests in your body also has something to do. It will tell you everything as well. Excuse my snorting cat. He's an old man. He always has to come make a cameo in the video at some point. But belief systems, right? Man, this stuff just can really take root if we let it. But here's the good news. It's just a thought, and a thought can always be changed. It's just as easy to retrain your brain to think loving thoughts like, everyone is always helpful. Everywhere I go, I experience love and joy from people. Everywhere I go, I give love and joy to people. So be more conscious of the words that we are speaking to ourselves. It starts within, and also with one another. If you guys resonate at all with this, maybe share some of your experiences. This is a safe place, so please be respectful in the comments. Like, any negative comments, like, I'm not dealing with your BS, and they'll just be deleted. You'll be blocked. It doesn't matter, because this is a safe space for people to be able to express themselves. We are here in the interest of collective freedom, growing together, learning, and pulling each other up. Goddamn, like, when somebody is down, lend them a hand. And if that's you, if you're the person who needs the hand, be gentle with yourself when you're coming up. Like, we're all just waking up slowly. We're remembering who we are, and have some grace. Change your BS. Get rid of it. Change the narrative. Flip the script. Time to start a new story. Start telling yourself a new story. Whatever that is for you. I'm fit, vibrant, and healthy. This is the best year of my life. Tomorrow's going to be even better. I drive my dream car. I work in the most beautiful places for and with people who love and care about me. I make good money. I live in my dream situation. I always am attracting the best kinds of friendships, people who are there for me and love and support me. I am always working to become the best version of myself. So if you guys resonated with any of this, give me a shout out in the comments. Let me know where you guys are watching from. If you're in America, what state or what country. I want to hear from you guys and your experiences. Don't forget to please like and subscribe to the podcast so we can all stay connected and help each other remember that we're pretty awesome. And if no one's told you today, I think you're pretty badass and I love you. So cheers, stay free, everybody. And until next time, have an amazing day. It's going to be the best day ever so far.